Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
The $200 smartwatch from Sony. Hello, Jason Howell, producer of TNT, all about Android, the GizWiz. So that's attractive. Did you have you tried the Samsung Galaxy Gear and the Pebble? And
so I've not tried either of those.
This is your
actually.
first.
Yeah, it was the
You never
Whim,
forget
the
your
Whim
first.
1
Oh, the Whim
of days past,
which Google now owns.
Google now owns, and actually has some similarities with this, which I'll talk about in a second. That's kind of the wearable watch that I've used before. But I've been very kind of curious with the space, still trying to figure out if it's something that's necessarily for me on a personal level, because I'm just so out of the loop when it comes to wearing a watch on my wrist.
Right.
But this is the Sony SmartWatch 2. It's a follow-up to their smartwatch from last year.
That would be the smartwatch 1.
Yes, there we go. I'm happy I set that one up for you. And it's $50 more this time around. It's $199.99, and I'll take it off so that it actually has a better look to it. And one thing I can say right off the top,
It doesn't have much of a better look is one thing right off the top.
I actually thought from a
think it's
design
attractive?
perspective, I think it's okay. I don't think
All
it's
of these look
amazing. I don't
clunky.
think it's jaw-dropping, but I think it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
So here's one thing that's actually kind of cool about
Oh,
this.
you
Let's
got
see.
app icons.
So when I hit the button on the side, right, that kind of turns the screen on. This is a transflective screen, and that's how it's similar to the Whim 1 in that when I haven't used it for a while, this is going to kick off and it's going to go to a low power mode, essentially. You can see it dimming right now, right?
But you can
There
still
is no-
see it
you can
when
still
it's
see
in
it. There's
low
no backlight.
power.
So it's
Yeah.
low power. So one of the things that is a big selling point with the Sony SmartWatch 2 is battery life. This got probably around 4 days of battery life per charge, which I don't know how that fares with the others, but I consider that pretty decent.
The only other long life watch is the Pebble, which does also get around a week.
And I think,
so.
that gets maybe a little bit more than the smartwatch, but
Still nice.
I found 3 to 4 days to be totally
much
doable.
better than the Gear, which is about one
you can
day.
see on the side a micro USB port. Of course,
Oh, really?
It has so it's not a proprietary charge port. Of course, it's very hard to get open because it's got this little cover on it.
It's in there somewhere.
It is, I promise. There we go.
Okay, so that's how you charge it. All right.
Yeah, that's how you charge it. And also the cover is kind of, the price you pay for it being water resistant up to 3 feet and up to a half an hour. So that's kind of nice. So you hit the button on the side, it kind of turns on the backlight, right? And then we can kind of go in here. Now, what you'll notice is that the interface looks a lot like Android, and it works with Android devices. It does not work with iOS.
Gmail, I see phone. Can you make a phone call from it?
You can trigger a phone call. So there is no camera, no speaker, no microphone in the watch. It's purely, I guess, a notification device that tethers to your phone. So I could, pull up my address book here and go through it if I wanted to, although on this tiny little screen, it can be kind of a pain. Or I can, take a look at my call log. Maybe that's not the best thing to look at. But yes, I could absolutely go in here and trigger a call that syncs up on my phone. And, if I'm wearing a headset at that particular moment, it'll make a call. So that's kind of neat. But you can see they really kind of tailored this around the look and feel of Android, but it's not running Android. So, you have this like notification pull down, but
So that's an email that you received.
Yep.
You can't respond to it there, though. There's some
No.
tweets that were about you.
You can do things like archive. It really depends on what the app does. And that's one of the downsides, I think. There's up to 300, I think Sony says, apps designed for SmartWatch 1 that also work for 2, as well as some that are now tailor-made, I think up to 50 that are tailor-made for 2. And they range in usefulness, right? If I go into Facebook and I see this little message from my friend Joe and I click on it, this is what I get.
You can read it anday.
No, all it says is the
Well, you
name.
can't read it.
Joe. And yes, it's tiny. And
The message isn't there.
Yes, there's nothing there. So, this is a Sony-made app for the watch. So, I don't know. It really kind of takes some of the utility away from a watch. My experience with this was largely of frustration.
Yeah.
Because the more I used it, the more I kind of realized what a watch attempts to do, which is to make it so that you don't have to pull your phone out of your pocket and you have all the important information at your wrist. Unfortunately, so many times with this watch, anything that you actually would want to do with the information that it presents to you requires your phone. So now it's taking you even longer because instead of reaching for your phone to begin with, you've checked your watch, you're reaching for your phone eventually anyways.
Right.
So many of the things that you would want to use the phone for just kind of became pretty inconvenient as a result. Setup and operation. Setup was a little clunky to get started. They have this app on the phone, which I'll show you real quick, called Smart Connect. And it's not a bad app. When I hop into here, basically this is how you search for applications, right? You go into their search, you find, I don't know, custom clocks, do search, and then it pops you into the Play Store to kind of show you all of them that come up. And then I could, I could just opt on installing this directly, and that'll sync to the
Seems
watch.
like a fairly big ecosystem. I mean, I guess that's the advantage of having been around for longer than almost anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. And they have all the apps that were created for SmartWatch 1 in there already, so it looks like there's a lot. It's just a lot of the apps were very hit or miss as far as kind of actual usability and functionality. It has NFC, so it can pair with your phone through NFC, the initial pairing, and then all the communications done through Bluetooth. So that's kind of nifty.
It has to be an Android phone?
It has to be an Android phone. It does not work with iOS. No
version
iOS
of
support.
Android?
It has a 4.0 and above.
Okay.
Yeah. It has vibration inside the watch, which was kind of nice with notification. Obviously, if you're getting a ton of notifications, your wrist is going to be vibrating like crazy. I found refresh times for notifications to be very iffy. Even if I set it to check at a certain interval, a lot of times I just wouldn't get a notification, and then eventually it would kind of come through. And even if it did, what can I do with it now? Nothing. I just know that it's there, and now I have to go to my phone to do anything else with it.
You're describing, by the way, pretty much every smartwatch yet.
Yeah, I think what I've realized
They're
through
all
this,
about the same.
and I would love to use more to see if my view on it, is the same, is that I think what people want out of a smartwatch is very different from what's possible out of a smartwatch. People want a smartwatch to be very useful from here's the information that, I would otherwise see on my phone and now have it on my wrist. But then your inclination is to then act on that and to do something with that. The problem is smartwatches are very small. Very small screen. There's only so much that you can do in this tiny little screen real estate to be very useful in that regard, and you're going to have to pull out your phone anyways. So I don't know if our smartwatches are ever going to be exactly what people want.
And to get decent battery life and to keep the size reasonable, it's hard to put speaker, microphone, touch screen that you can actually, type into. All of that stuff's difficult in a watch, and I think this is the challenge of this particular form factor that nobody seems to have licked.
Absolutely. Someone may come along and really tackle it.
And I see what Apple does. And
there are elements of the smartwatch that I do like. I think the design, it actually fits your standard 24 millimeter watch bands. So
good, because that's an ugly ass band.
Yeah, this is the one that kind of comes with it. They have different colored ones.
These all have these. So does it have any health things like a pedometer? Can it measure your heart rate?
Yes, there are some health. No,
apps.
It doesn't measure your heart rate,
but it does measure your footsteps.
But it does have the capability of syncing to some apps that are around fitness. But, I didn't check for something that actually measured footsteps, and I doubt...
Something actually useful.
I doubt off the top of my head that the watch has that built in. It would probably be detected through your phone and then transmitted to your watch. Which
your phone often does.
Yeah, exactly.
So pros and cons.
All right, pros. I'd say the design was probably one of the pros in this regard. I think it looks okay.
Generous,
I'm being generous, but honestly, when it's on your wrist,
geeky. They're geek jewelry.
They're all big, but I don't think it looks horrible. The Galaxy Gear, from what I've seen on wrists, looks god-awful. So this is kind of a step up, I think, from that. Let's see here. Transflective display is very cool. Kind of that low-power, always-on display. Very nice. And the battery performance, I thought, was great. The cons, clunky setup, and the UI just has some real issues and kind of, jaggedness throughout. The notifications aren't very useful all the time. What can you really do with them? App integration has a lot to be desired. And then I didn't even mention the screen resolution is 220 by 176, which is about 176 pixels per inch. And you kind of see it, up close and personal when you're really looking at it. And I don't know. It just...
Now, I see a music app on there. Can you plug in headphones and listen to music?
No. Okay. So basically,
I'm really trying here.
It's a control. It controls the music app
pause,
on your
play,
phone.
Rewind. Yeah.
So exactly. So if you've got it synced to play music, you can hit play on a track or skip forward or back or whatever, and it'll navigate from your phone.
So I'm guessing. Well, I'm not going to guess.
Oh, total buy.
Total buy.
No. I would say don't buy. I think there are some good things here, but $200 is a lot to spend on kind of an extension of your notification tray on your device.
I feel like everybody's trying to solve this and nobody has yet.
Totally. I completely agree.
Yeah, that's the Sony SmartWatch 2. Their second in a continuing series.